Alright guys, welcome back. So I'm learning some stuff with this GoPro, and my last video, something happened. Didn't get the first part of the video, so I don't know what's going on. Well, actually I do. I gotta get a better SD card. The one I have is just not fast enough to keep up with the higher quality video. So I had to turn the video quality back down to get it to work. So what I'm doing, so you guys missed kind of the live part of me doing one of these tanks. So I went and got some more JB Weld. That's the beauty of having a lot of friends in the hobby, and we have a lot of group chats that we have. And I just ask people, and somebody, I was like, hey, which high saw do you think I should use for this? And they're like, oh, use JB Weld, it's better for metals. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. I didn't even think about that. I know either all the high saw I use would have worked because I've used all of it for different tank fittings, but that was a good idea. So I went and I had some old JB Weld that I didn't want to use, so I went and bought some more, and they've got this new quick dry. So it's about half the strength of the slow cure, but I mean 5,000 psi shear versus 25,000 or 2,500. So 5,000 versus 2,500. That's not going to be a problem with here because I'm just holding in a fitting, and this thing is typically under a vacuum. When the pumps are sucking fuel out of it to send it to the motors. The only time it's really pressurized is when sounds like the wife's home, is when you're filling it, and I don't fill mine like crazy fast to overpressurize it. So you missed that. So I just mixed it up, and it sets up in like 6 to 8 minutes and hardens completely in like 24 hours. And I just mixed this up, and I did this last fitting. This is the one I just did. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. So I glued. So the BVMs, I gotta remember to do this. So they come with these, actually has this on there too. If your tanks are not assembled, you can use this brass fitting to kind of screw it down and hold it into the wall. But since the tanks are already fitting, you can never get this in on the inside to do it. So I just use it like this. So I just JB welded this brass fitting into the old style, just round aluminum fitting. And then the BVM pickup just screws into it with a seal, and then you put your Clunk line on it, and this goes to the actual wherever, to the UAT or whatever, to the other tank. And I didn't capture it, but this is like the old, this is what it had before. And this stuff has gotten really hard. And this is the BVM Clunk line. That stuff's hard. It's not hard as a rock, but it's still hard, and it won't flex around and move around like it needs to. So just as a learning, every few years you need to change this stuff. I know most people do that anyway. Some people don't ever do it, but I think a good idea is to do it about every 4 to 5 years if you keep them all that long. So that one's done. I got to make the Clunk line for it. These are high flow Clunks, so I'm just going to use the original Clunks, and I've got the length here, so it'll be easy to do. I've got to glue 2 more on the main fuselage or main fuel tank, which is what these 2 are for. So that's what I'm going to do next. But it being inside the jet, there ain't really nothing you can see. And what I also wanted to mention is I talked to Actuonics about this. Actually lets me see what I'm looking at, which is nice. I talked to Actuonics about finding a suitable replacement for these older linear actuators that come with my kit. So these used to be Frigarelli, and it's an L16 100, which is the stroke, 63, which is the gear ratio, 12 is voltage, S means it's that type of linear actuator. There's a P, an S, and an R. An R is the RC version. This one has a control board because it only has a 2-wire. So it runs off 12 volts with a 2-wire, but the only problem is it only goes in and out until it hits its full stroke, and then it shuts off. So I wanted something that I could actually control, which I've talked about many times. So I wanted to use an RC version. So the RC version is an L16 100, whatever ratio you want, 6R. R is the RC version. And I'm going to take this plastic housing off and replace it with the one that the Skymaster machined for it. I've already put the tip on, which is an aluminum tip versus the plastic. So I talked to Jonathan from the lighter side of RC, and the one they built that they put the, I guess whatever the stock ones are, is gear ratio